Jai Jitendra. It is a pleasure to introduce Mr. Rajesh Dhruva. Of course, he is not a newcomer to us. We know him very well. He is very famous in India, so we know him from that perspective as well. He is an eminent expert on NRE tax and FEMA matters, a chartered accountant. He is the chief executive and director of Keynote Consultancy Private Limited. And you can always go through their portals, www.femaonline.com, www.nribanks.com, and you will find a lot of advice and rules and regulations and what to do, do's and don'ts and everything over there. So those portals belong to Mr. Rajesh Dhruva. He has been practicing as an NRI consultant since '88 and has delivered various papers and talks on NRI tax, FEMA, and financial planning within India and also abroad. He has made several presentations to the Finance Ministry based on his understanding, and when there were anomalies or there were some discrepancies in the taxes, laws, and all that the government had suggested, and in many of the cases, those were accepted by the government. In Dubai, he has had a very packed schedule, and we are very grateful to him that he has kindly so graciously agreed and consented to take questions here with us and to be part of today's gathering. May I request him to take the speech, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Jai Jitendra. In a few words before I take your questions. My compliments to Mr. Jain, people who is a very dear friend, and all of you for these wonderful initiatives. And you know it better than me, but I'd just like to make two comments about it, two observations. In Mumbai, a group of people have come up who wanted to buy property in a particular, say for example, Raja complex. These people were absolute strangers to each other. They came through the networking of the internet, and they could negotiate an absolutely ridiculously decent price for purchase of those flats. This is power of networking. It all started in 1991 for me. For the first time I came to this country, my first lecture ever outside India was organized by none other than Bharat Shah. And he put me to Mr. Jain sir. I already addressed your members. People is a dear friend. Brings me second time to you all. I was as a matter of fact addressing the Dubai chapter today morning. So networking is all about it. आपने ओळखाण कही है गुजराती हम जिसको ओळखाण बोलते हैं पहचान बोलते हैं I mean when you go to US and UK the word most commonly used even among the youngsters of the Mark Zuckerberg is networking. So networking has a power and it's not instant. It can't happen today. It's an investment. To me, networking is beyond just meeting up with that. It's investment in relationship. And any relationship always pays back much more with compounding interest. As a chartered accountant, this best I can say. And one observation I love to make. People did say a few things. I mean, the gentleman did say a few things about us, about my firm. But a lot of credit goes to none other than Bharat Shah. When Vijay Kelkar committee wanted to tax NRE interest and FCNR interest, we made representations, but it was the bullish power of Bharat Shah to the Finance Ministry. 2 times this proposal was put up and it was defeated and it was eventually restored. So, sincerely, I am really very happy to once again be amongst Jito. Hence, I've been invited me this year only to deliver a lecture. I'll be more than happy to take questions if any on the subject of taxation for NRIs, as well as foreign NCOs pertaining to NRIs. People shall we throw it open now? Please.
Thank you, Rajesh bhai. One thing I would like to say, I mean, at a very short notice, Rajesh bhai agreed to consented to be amongst us and answer questions on NRI tax and FEMA matter. He had an event next door ICI chapter, and from morning till evening he was busy, and still he consented. So a big round of applause for Rajesh bhai. I would just like to moderate this so that one request I have, that any personal question that you have on the NRI tax which are of general nature, which would interest everyone, probably we can definitely take it up. Otherwise, on a one-to-one basis also, he would be around along with us in the event, so you can also talk to talk to him.
The second I met Bharat Shah.
Yeah, also on 2nd of November, Rajesh Bhai is available at Bharat Bhai Shah's office for a one-to-one consultation from 9:30 to 7:30. So anyone who wishes to meet him on a one-to-one basis, please take his appointment, and we would be more than glad to take it up. I will just set the ball rolling, and then we will have the mic circulated so you can have your questions. I would just like to start with Rajesh Bhai on this, that as an NRI, sometimes there is a confusion in the non-resident community between the non-resident definition and then, when a person goes back to India, he would become whether a resident or a resident but not ordinary resident. And what impact would it have on the taxability of his worldwide income? Obviously, Indian income is taxable, but then what happens to the worldwide income under all the three different scenarios?
Two clarifications. First of all, people never told me I'm supposed to answer questions. He told me, he knows I have a weakness for sweets. So he told me, Rajesh, are you having dinner with someone? I said, no. He said, we got wonderful sweets tonight. And that's what brought me here. And as far as the question answer session at Bharat Bhai's office is concerned, it's absolutely complimentary. As a rule, I've been going out of India 26 years. I make it a point never to charge a single penny, whether I'm in India, whether I'm in UAE, USA or UK. So it's absolutely complimentary. The idea is, then why do I do it? The idea is very simple, that people who know FEMA and tax coming to your doorstep are very few, and the entire law of FEMA, which is Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, is foreign to people not only who are NRIs, is foreign to bankers in India, chartered accountants in India, and that is the reason you get more confused. And the point of time comes when you lose interest and you start having distrust for the people in India. India, if I answer this question, only 1 minute I'd like to give to, is the next big opportunity. I mean, whereas do you have 125 crore people asking for a cup of tea? But the same country had only 9 crore bank accounts till 1 year back. The initiatives of Mr. Narendra Modi has brought in another 12 crores. But there's only 21 crore bank accounts. So what can happen? Technology is the big game changer. There is a company of Airtel which has got 27 crore mobile connections, and Idea has got 17 crore mobile connections. Airtel has got a banking license, Idea has got a banking license, Birla Money. They already started doing KYC, and even a government bank like Federal Bank has started a selfie bank account operation where you take a self photograph, take a photograph of your driving license, send a utility bill, and in 4 minutes flat you open a bank account in India. This is the game changing that's happening. See, the only problem is that there is a Greek proverb that if you see something 100 times, you believe it 10 times. So unfortunately, every evening, whether in India or in Dubai, I see Arnav, I see Sardesai, and I see the kind of people, and I start believing them. I start wondering whether India is all about Sumanta Pushkar, Sheena Bora only, or prices of onions. But I mean it. But then you go back and look at what Lagarde is saying. Lagarde is the chief of IMF, and she is on record saying that the country will be the fastest growing economy not next year, coming 10 years down the road. So this is what I mean. Somehow we are missing out the point, and it's the championship of friends like Vipul, Jain Saab, Bharat Bhai, who are trying to make a dent. I do my own way, my little effort. But the idea is very clear. If you miss India, in 1990s, the country was missing. Today, you are missing, and Franklin Templeton's and Morgan Stanley's are gaining. Simple, it's a very personal view, and it's not surprising. Now the answer to Vipul's question. See, the entire definition of NRI is unfortunately wedded to number of days of physical stay in India under the Income Tax Act of 1961. But each one of you presently is a non-resident Indian. The popular word is NRI. Well, if you go back to India, now in Delhi, is now respected Indian. With the bankers, is always now required Indian. People like Bharat always said, never return to India. But the NRI, each one of you, who you are, see, NRIs are supposed to be governed by the law of FEMA and not income tax. And what is the law of FEMA definition? It's a very simple definition. It says an Indian citizen or a foreign citizen of Indian origin residing outside India, taking up employment, conducting business, profession or vocation or even retirement outside India is a person resident outside India, PRY, and for that reason he is defined as an NRI. So long as you are an NRI under FEMA, you can continue to conduct and maintain your NRI bank accounts, FCNR bank accounts, investment in mutual funds, stocks as a non-resident. It has nothing to do with number of days of physical stay in India at all. I repeat, FEMA does not quantify your numbers of days stay in India. Even if for marriage of your little kids, your children, or health of your parents, if you come back to India, stay for 2 years under FEMA, because you have not returned to India for permanent settlement, you will continue to be PRY, NRI, and you can jolly well continue your bank accounts and all conduct as non-resident. The problem does come in from income tax point of view. If you stayed, Devanga, it's a time for me to shut up. Yeah. The point is that if you have stayed out of India for more than 10 years, even if you stay 2 years, 365 days, staying more than 181 days will make you a resident in India in a financial year. And in India, the financial begins on 1st April, ends on 31st March. But even a 2 consecutive entire year stay will make you resident. But because of earlier 10 years and 7 years not exceeding 730 days, you will be resident but not ordinarily resident. Your global income will not be liable to tax in India. You are not required to show your global assets in India so long as you have not come to India for permanent settlement. And then in the 3rd year, if you are compelled to stay in India, then only your global assets will be liable to tax in India. Yes, if you have returned to India, as our dear friend Rajesh is tinkering to do so, then yes, from the very first year when you return to India, if your stay exceeds 181 days in the current year, or even 59 days in the current year, and 365 days in preceding 4 years, you'll be resident, and then you are required to show your global assets, pay tax on global income. So, at the cost of repetition, number of days calculation is not necessary if you continue to reside outside India on a permanent basis. The ticking starts only when you come to India for more than 2 years, 181 days, then the 3rd year ticking comes, or if you have returned to India for permanent settlement. I'm sorry the answer is a little too lengthy, but the question I suppose was demanding that. Thank you. Please, I will request you, one of you, and as a matter of fact, as I told you, I'm here for the sweets, so please don't clap. Yes, sir.
Suppose if a company incorporated in BVI invest in an Indian company and if it acquires a business or say by private equity, and if acquires a business say at $1 million, after 3 years, if the business is sold, let's say $1.5 million, but money is not coming from outside India. It's just the transaction is happening outside India. So whether the event will be taxable?
See, I'll be very honest. This is a very technical question. And my style is, when I don't know the answer, I say, wonderful question, we'll talk about it afterwards. But jokes apart, see, this problem has come up since Vodafone. In Vodafone, what happened? That there was a Hong Kong company which sold shares of an underlying business which was Indian business, Vodafone. And the government of India and the tax department sought to tax that transaction which happened between a non-resident foreign company and another non-resident foreign company. The matter went up right up to the Supreme Court. Now matter has been restored, but Indian tax authorities and Indian tax department has started taking initiatives to tax every transaction which happens whereby an underlying business is Indian and exchange has happened whereby money has transferred and capital gains have arisen. As a matter of fact, we are going to follow global standard. Come year 2017-18, worldwide this will be a phenomenon. Because right now, खींचातानी चल रही है about between the source and the residence. The source is India, the residence is Mauritius. But worldwide, most of the countries have come to a conclusion that it will be source which will be the prominent and not the residence. In this case, super technically, it will not be taxed. But if this source element comes in, 3 years from now, worldwide this income will be liable to tax. A lot of initiatives are being taken. India has joined the CRS, Common Reporting Standards, whereby India will be reporting to G20 and OECD countries details of accounts held in India by people residing or citizens of those countries. 30th September 2015, India has already started reporting accounts of US people under Foreign Asset Tax Compliance Act of USA, and the intergovernmental agreement signed on the 9th July 2015. So 2018, all these things will vanish. See, these were our ideas. We were making good money because we as professionals thought this is the best thing. And when you speak about BVI, I'm reminded to tell you that one of the largest service provider is Portuguese Trust. People who are dealing with trust are aware about this company. And we always thought that if my friend in India wanted to do something outside India, let's put up a BVI company. So in that, through Portuguese, we created a company, a trust, a shelter, another shelter. A gentleman working for Portuguese busted the accounts. You can, like WikiLeaks, you can go on internet, you can see the accounts, details of every single Portuguese trust and company anytime. The same matter is available with Income Tax Department. They have already searched or surveyed every single person whose name appeared there. Unfortunately, that included me also. But fortunately for me, I was not an account holder, I'm a service provider. So we had to convince them that if I'm a master client, technically I'm a referral. And it took 1.5 hours for us to convince them, and then things were easy. But what I'm trying to convey is, we think our matters are not known. The tax department worldwide are much smarter than we think. So let's go straight to the point, be to the point, and abide by the laws and regulations to the extent possible. Please. Yes, sir. The mic here, please.